Welcome to the Explainer. We all do research, whether it's for school, for work, or even just trying to figure out which new phone to buy. But what is research, really? In this Explainer, we're going to demystify the whole process. We'll turn what feels like this huge, daunting task into a simple, powerful tool you can use every single day. Let's dive in. So let me ask you, what's the first thing that pops into your head when you hear the word research? I bet for a lot of us, it's probably a scientist in a lab coat, or maybe a professor surrounded by dusty old books. But is that the whole picture? Is that really all there is to it? Let's find out. Sometimes the best way to understand something is to first figure out what it's not. There are a ton of misconceptions out there about research, so before we go any further, let's clear the air and bust a few of those common myths. Okay, so for starters, research is not just randomly Googling things. It's not about collecting a bunch of facts without any real goal in mind. It's also not just finding information and shuffling it around. The whole point is to create new knowledge or some kind of new insight. And it's definitely not some buzzword you can just throw around to make your opinion sound more official. All right, so now that we've pushed some of those common mix-ups aside, let's build up the real definition. What is research, really? At its heart, research is just about finding things out. Simple, right? But here's the absolute keyword, the secret ingredient, systematic. It's not just about being curious and asking questions. It's about having a clear, organized plan to find the answers. That's what separates real research from just, looking stuff up. Think about it like this. If you're going to build a house, you don't just start throwing bricks and wood together and hope for the best, right? Of course not. You have a blueprint. You have a plan. Research is exactly the same. You need a plan for how you're going to get your information, a plan for how you're going to make sense of it, and a super clear idea of what you're trying to figure out in the first place. And hey, this isn't just some abstract idea we cooked up. These are the same core principles that are taught in universities all over the world, from business schools to science labs. So whether you're a student trying to nail a paper or a professional trying to solve a tricky problem at work, you're learning the exact same fundamental skills that drive discovery in pretty much every field. So now that we've got a pretty good handle on what research is, let's talk about the two main types you're likely to run into. You can think of them as two sides of the same coin, but each one has a very different end goal. Basic research, that's all about pure curiosity. It's asking why, just for the sake of knowing. A perfect example is the discovery of penicillin. The scientists weren't actually trying to invent an antibiotic. They were just studying mold. On the flip side, you've got applied research, which is all about solving a very specific problem. It's about asking, how can we fix this thing right now? Like a company trying to figure out exactly why their sales have suddenly dropped. Okay, next up, we're going to tackle two words that sound super similar, and honestly, they trip people up all the time. Methods and methodology. Getting the difference between these two is absolutely crucial for doing good research. Let's try a little analogy. Imagine you're a chef. Your methods are all your individual ingredients and your kitchen tools, the knives, the pans, the oven. But your methodology, that's the recipe. It's the big picture plan that explains not just what you're using, but why you're using those specific tools and ingredients in that specific order to create the perfect dish. See the difference? All right, so we've covered the what and the why of research. Now for the really good part, the how. We're going to walk through the 6 essential steps of pretty much any research project, taking you from that first little spark of an idea all the way to the final conclusion. See, good research isn't just a random walk in the dark. It's a journey, and luckily, it has a very clear and reliable roadmap. You start with a question, you see what other people have already figured out, you design a solid plan, you gather your evidence, you figure out what it all means, and then, finally, you share what you've learned. If you follow these steps, you can turn just about any question into a real discovery. So, at the end of the day, research isn't just for academics in ivory towers. It's a powerful tool that anyone, and I mean anyone, can use to explore the world, to solve problems, and to make a difference. We've given you the map. Now it's your turn to start the journey. So, what will you discover?